children were able to run on its surface without puncturing it. In fact, they practically slid down the hill, skating on the shimmering, treacherous veneer. A sharp whistle pierced the air. At the sound, the first child tried to stop, continued sliding, then fell to the side, perhaps deliberately to gain some purchase on the slippery slope. Even the taller child hesitated for a moment. A second whistle, louder. The smaller child looked toward the bottom of the hill, at the dark gash across the otherwise all-white landscape, disappearing to the north around a bend lined with pine trees. Train tracks, kept clear of snow from frequent use. "It's mine!" The smaller child started at the voice, looked up into the angry eyes peering out from the slit in the ski mask. Another whistle, nearly deafening. Both children turned toward the noise, held to the awesome spectacle of the approaching freight train. Within moments it was passing by, car after car, endless. The earth trembled beneath them. The smaller child, perhaps frightened, perhaps simply cold from sitting on the snow, stood up and stared open-mouthed as the cars passed, boxcars, tank cars, flat cars piled with lumber. The taller one reached out to grab the doll. The smaller child cradled it just in time. "No!" The protest was all but drowned by the passing train. Again, a mittened hand reached for the doll, now practically engulfed in the small child's down jacket. "It's mine," the tall one shouted. "You said I could have it! You said I could!" The smaller child turned to face the red, snow-topped boxcars whizzing by. The taller child raised both hands in front and paused for a split second, then shoved hard, sending the other child sprawling, propelled off the snow, tumbling headfirst down the hill. The taller child looked up just in time to see a blur of blue snow jacket, whirling black wheels one after another, swirling gusts of white snow, patches of red here and there where... It was as if the smaller child had vanished. And the taller child sat on top of the icy snow as if waiting for the other to reappear, doll in hand, from beneath the train. Minutes went by, boxcars and tank cars and flat cars by the dozens. Quiet finally returned as the train receded down the tracks. The taller child stood up and slid down the hill, eyes averted from the flattened jacket and blue jeans on the track, staring instead at the tail of the train disappearing around the distant bend. At the edge of the track the child finally glanced down, then quickly away, and started up the hill, panting, slipping, falling back. 3 feet up, 2 feet back down again. Eyes red, tears welling up. "I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it." "Mama!" The child stopped halfway up and listened. The tinny notes were faint, muted by the snow. Had the tiny music box inside the doll been on all along? No. Then why was it on now? The music was irresistible, hypnotic, its very faintness drawing the child back down the hill. Eyes averted as before, the child approached the track, crouched, felt around the body, looked squarely at it for one brief second, then grasped the doll and stood up. The child stared at the doll, fresh splotches of red dotting its slender body, the music sharper now, more precise. "Somewhere over the..." The child switched off the music and turned to address the mangled heap on the track. "He's my wizard!" A step back, breath smoke puffing from the mouth hole in the ski mask. "My wizard!" Hugging the doll, the child began the slippery climb to the top of the hill. Saturday, January 28th. Chapter 1. Julia Mallet leaned over the bed and gently stroked her daughter's forehead. "Want a song, honey?" Emily nodded. "Which one?" "You know, Mommy, I'll start. Somewhere over the rainbow." Emily had inherited her mother's throaty voice. On the phone she was often mistaken for much older than her 4 years. By the time they got to Troubles Melt Like Lemon Drops, Emily's eyes were starting to close. Julia sang Why Oh Why Can't I solo and had turned to go when a burst of laughter from the party on the other side of the closed door got through to Emily. "You look silly, Mommy. Everybody looks silly tonight." "That's because I told them to dress silly," Julia said. "Why?" "Because it's my 35th birthday and I asked everybody to dress the way they looked 17 years ago in 1977. "Why?" "Because that's the year I started college and a lot..."